Fighting is a part of our history as humans. It's something we have been unable to avoid for most of history. Even back in the Bible, we see David and Goliath who fight. And David wins, which is traditionally, it breaks all of history. The smaller opponent should never have defeated a larger opponent. And this is important to us today as we have different styles and advantages of fighting that would help us complete a task similar to David. For a smaller person like myself, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a fundamental fighting style that uses dominant positions and submissions to defeat larger opponents. This was created by the Gracie family in 1920, to which they called Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Now, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was brought over to the U.S. in 1920 by Royce Gracie, one of the smallest of the brothers. Nor was he the best at Jiu-Jitsu, but he did enroll in the tournament of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Now, this was not a Jiu-Jitsu tournament, nor a traditional fighting tournament. All styles were allowed, such as the dirty styles like fish hooks, eye gouges, and hair pulling. Now, Royce Gracie used nothing but his gi and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to fight through this tournament, and he tactfully, slowly, and masterfully defeated all of his opponents without using such dirty tactics. This cemented in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu as a fighting style. Now, it slowly became mixed with Judo to create Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not to say that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and Judo no longer exist. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just the most common of the Jiu-Jitsus now. Now, this is still intertwined with the UFC, but now we know it less of a tournament, but more as a card fight. And it uses MMA, which Jiu-Jitsu is a part of MMA, and almost all that you'll see on the ground fighting. This is important because it has cemented in Jiu-Jitsu as a sport here in the U.S., as well as in history, because UFC is groundbreaking because no other fighting style, unlike boxing, has created such a large variety of fighters who come in and compete, ever growing to this day. However, this is harmful to Jiu-Jitsu as it's losing its history as a sport. We know less and less people who know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, much less Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and those that created this sport. And to combat this, we'll just have to inform and ensure that more and more people know what this fighting style has came from and why it is so important to them today. And that is because all these fighting styles have been based off of the idea of Jiu-Jitsu. MMA without Jiu-Jitsu would be no less than boxing, kickboxing, maybe. It's the unique idea that has become such a large part of the fighting community that without it, we would not see it as we do today. And that is why we must do our most to preserve the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu